Hey guys, we're back for another episode of the Bomber Budget Build. This week what we're going to do is we're going to be replacing the new Bomber style shock link mounts that Axial came out with first on the Bomber. Now the shock link mount that I'm referring to, for some of you who aren't aware, is this piece that bolts to the axle either from the front or the rear, depending on which axle you're talking about, bolts through and threads into this plastic mount that your trailing arms and sway bar mount to in the rear. In the front, however, your lower link and your shock mount to it directly. Now, the new design that Axial used on the Bomber integrates an upper mount, this third top mount, which your sway bar mounts to in the rear. In the front, it is empty in the stock configuration. When you begin to use it in the front is if you go to a dual shock setup. The other change that Axial made to this piece is that instead of using the bolt through and then retaining it with an M3 nylock on the backside, what they decided to do was bolt through and then thread directly into the plastic. So there's no lock as far as a nut or anything like that goes. So you could theoretically strip this out of the plastic, especially if you're running these things extremely hard. So far, I have not had that issue on mine. So even though I haven't had an issue with them yet, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to change them out anyway. So this week what we're going to do is we're going to install these new aluminum versions, which will go back to a bolt through and then be retained with that M3 nylock. So like last week, this is going to be a quick and easy install. We're going to tackle the rear axle today to show you exactly how these go on and all the details. So with this installation, we're going to start with the wheel and tire already off. Then remove the screws holding the stock link mount in through the backside of the axle. Then remove the two screws in that existing link mount holding on your trailing arm and sway bar end link in the case of the rear axle. Now, the new link mounts you'll see have a 1 and a 2 engraved in them. That's because these are actually threaded on the one side. You can see that one side is significantly thicker than the other side. That thicker portion actually goes towards the inside, and that has the threads of this link mount, making it much easier to install these when on the vehicle. Put the M3 lock nuts into location, and then you can begin reinserting the 3mm screws that go through the axle and retain the link mount into place. At that point, reattach the trailing arm and sway bar end link, and that is all there is to the installation of these new aluminum lower link mount and shock mounts. So once again, I don't have an outro for this video, but thought I would throw in a little bit of footage from last weekend when I took the truck up to Donner Pass and threw it around on the rocks while doing some testing. Absolutely love the Bomber. It's still my absolute favorite truck to drive. Throwing it around on the rocks. We've built up an extremely durable truck throughout this series, and I couldn't be happier with its performance. Really digging this truck, but we are nearing the end of this budget build series as this truck is getting really close to done. In this video that's not 100% as you just saw it, there's a couple of other upgrades on there, but you guys will see those next week in the next episode of the Bomber Budget Build. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.